Now, I know you guys see the rain and you think I'm going to be an absolute hero and go run 20 miles outside in the pouring rain, but that is the exact opposite of what I'm going to do today. So I think we have some sort of a hurricane situation that came through Charlotte. Charlie said it was a Category 4 hurricane. I hope everyone's doing okay out there, but I am not going to be running outside in this today. We have now passed the hero stage of marathon training into self-preservation. So I'm going to go to Snap Fitness over on 51 on Mint Hill. I have not been there since the days of people complaining when I held the shoes up in the camera when I was do you guys remember that? I don't know if anyone's been around that since then, but it was around when the Mach X released, the Nova Blast 4 released, the Saucony Endorphin Pro 4 released, right after Joy was born. I was going to the gym a lot and hitting the treadmill in the morning because that was how I could get my miles in. But I really love running outside, just not in hurricanes and not when we have a gigantic workout. So today is a pretty big workout. Typically, if it were a relaxed run, I might just run outside. I did a workout last week in the rain. It was just not fun. So I don't really want to do that again. We're going to go on the treadmill. And now because I'm going on the treadmill, bless me. Because I'm going on the treadmill, that was overly zoomed in the entire time. Because I'm going on the treadmill, I don't want to use one of my race shoes. I always feel a little bit weird taking the Carbon County shoes on the treadmill. It's just, it doesn't feel right. I don't use race shoes on the treadmill. So because we're going on the treadmill, I'm going to take out the Mach X2 and we'll do a 20-mile day today in the Mach X2. I haven't been reaching for these shoes for a while. I haven't been reaching for that category of shoes for a while because it just feels like a little bit less speed assistance. It feels like, I don't know, they're just not doing it for me because the race shoes are getting so comfortable. But I had the Super Blast 2 land this week and I didn't love it, and a lot of other people out there said it was just okay as well, and I know a lot of people do love it. I'm not saying that it's not a love shoe. Trust me, I know that the Super Blast 2 is a love shoe. Just go look at the comments. But the Mach X2 is also a loved shoe right now, and I want to get some more miles in it. I know my guy Ryan Knox is loving that shoe right now. Some other people, Rohan, out in, where is he? What is that region? There's a name for it. What is it called? Oceania. He's either from Australia or New Zealand, my guy Rohan. So we're going to take the Mach X2 for some miles. I need to finish my bada boom oatmeal and coffee, and then we can hit the hobby jogger wagon. And the one thing I do like about running on the treadmill, because I usually like getting outside, it gets me out of the house, it's nice. The one thing about the treadmill is I can listen to music. So we'll play the New Future or something to get going, and then we'll have some threshold miles. So breakfast, Jeep, bang. Even though we're going treadmill, we still have to come with the swag. This is the John G 5-inchers, and then a little New Balance tank. Had to put the shoes in the magic bag. Man, the magic bag hasn't made an appearance in a while. That's because we haven't been going anywhere. Shout out to the magic bag, putting in work. Man, it really is pretty nasty out there. All right, before we go here, workout for today. Going back to the Book of Daniels. Bada boom, bada bang. Man, we are getting so close. It is scary. All right, 3 weeks out, Q2, 4 miles of warm-up into 4 by 2 miles at threshold with 2 minutes recovery jog in between. Bada boom, bada bang. So 14 miles total and 2 miles cool down. That's going to be a beast. I also need to figure out, I haven't been to the gym in so long. I think this is the card. Yeah, there we go. Snap Fitness. All right. We have this. We don't need this. I think I'll finish this when we get back. Last sip of coffee. So here's the thing. This is counterculture coffee, which is the best coffee you can get in the store. It's not bad whatsoever. It's a solid blend, but it's not a single origin that was freshly roasted a few weeks ago. Now, counterculture does have that, but the stuff that you can get at Harris Teeter is not. So this is our emergency coffee. Whenever I run out of my single origin, I just run to the grocery store and get this. But luckily, the black and white stuff showed up last night. But one chug, everybody knows the rules. Cheers, mate. Yeah, it's picking up even more. This is crazy. Last night when I was driving Mason home from soccer, it might have been the worst rain I've ever driven. Actually, when we first moved here, we were out in Wilmington, North Carolina, by the beach, and there was a similar torrential downpour, and it was probably driving through 6 inches of rain, but this was pretty close last night. There was some flash flooding on the back roads here in Mint Hill. Not fun, but that's why we have the hobby jogger wagon. Man, these things need a good cleaning. Look at them. Took them to soccer last weekend, and the field, I think it had just gotten cut, plus it was super wet, so all the grass clippings mobbed these and Charlie's More V5. So I got to do a good thorough cleaning of, look at this, all this dirt here, disgusting. And the upper, maybe we'll do a little bonus shoe cleaning tutorial for the Supwell app. Still one of the comfiest shoes in the game, though. And this is the thing, I don't like to wear my treadmill shoes or running shoes to drive. I don't know, it's just a weird thing. I wear my casual shoes to drive. I've always done this, no matter how many shoes I have. I wear my casual shoes to drive, and then I put my running shoes on to run. It's not terrible, not great, the weather, but I don't know, I just had kind of a tough workout in the rain last week, and I don't feel like running in the rain for 2 hours. I can do it. And here's the thing, I ran a marathon during training in the rain. I run in the rain all the time, so I have nothing to prove with running in the rain. I just want to be comfy and have some fun this morning. So, treadmill, it is. There ain't nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with choosing to be not uncomfortable sometimes. We don't need to be a hero every day of the week, every run of the block. As a matter of fact, most of the time, I would say it's best to not be a hero. And I started engaging in some hero aspiration behavior last week. That workout that I did in the rain, that was 100% trying to be a hero. So we are going to course correct today. Go back to the other side. Go back to being focused on hitting the workout, not forcing ourselves to make things harder than they need to be. That's my whole philosophy with marathon training. The mileage is what should be hard. The paces are what should feel challenging. We don't need to make everything else around it challenging as well. It's like with the fueling, right? Yes, you could do all of your runs fasted. That's going to make it a little bit, the perceived effort a little bit higher if we do that versus fueling correctly. No matter if we're training for a marathon or not. And that's one of the things that I discovered when I stopped intermittent fasting, we got a tropical storm warning in effect for our county. But yeah, one of the things I learned when I stopped intermittent fasting was, wow, I feel so much better right now during my runs, and especially after those runs. That was the biggest difference for me. I could do a 10-mile run fasted and feel fine. The splits, the pace would be the same as if I were fasted or not. But the difference comes in recovery, right? Once that run ends, how quickly do we feel back to baseline? How quickly do we feel recovered from that effort? And I was realizing when I didn't fuel properly, I would finish almost every single run just with that burning in the pit of my stomach, feeling like I left it all out there. And then the recovery would be harder. When I was intermittent fasting and doing 10-mile long runs, I would be smashed until noon of that day. And granted, I was still earlier on in my running journey, but the fueling properly before and during the run can make that recovery a lot easier. And for me, recovery during marathon training is one of the biggest things. And that's going to be one of the big variables in determining how frequently we can add in intensity. How are we recovering? And so today is Thursday. I haven't done a structured workout or a hard effort since Sunday. And for the past few weeks before this, I was doing Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, and throughout a lot of the summer, I was just adding in race pace tempos whenever I felt like it throughout the week. There ain't nothing wrong with that if you're recovering. But because of all of that stress and accumulation of fatigue on the body, now that we're getting to the end of this block, this is the time to pull it down. And so I took 3 days completely off. I also saw a great question on the Supwell app about how to increase mileage. And this is something that comes up a lot. How do we increase mileage? How do we increase the stress and intensity on the body and get better? Baking in these down weeks are huge. So if we think about what a taper is or what a sharpening period is going into a big race, that's essentially a prolonged down week. But any time throughout training, even if we're not training for a race, doing 3 to 4 weeks at our higher mileage level, at whatever level of mileage is forcing those adaptations, whatever level of mileage is challenging you, whether that's 40 or 50 miles, say that's 40 miles for you, you've never hit that before. Doing 3 weeks at that and then pulling it back down to 30 miles to let the body recover, you're gonna be so much fresher going into that 40-mile week again. And that's what I've found throughout this block. If you look at my Strava, you'll see it's not one consistent straight line across. There's these weeks where I dip down to let the body recover. And so that's what the last few days were, letting the body recover. I was absolutely smashed on Sunday. I felt horrible going into that run. I felt horrible during that run. I felt horrible after that run. And there's some days where that's going to be the case because we've just pushed our body to the limit and there's nothing we can do. There's no mental trick sometimes. And I was reading this one running book. I'm not going to say which one it was, but there's a big section on mindset. And yes, our mentality and our mindset can influence how we feel, but there's some days where we've just pushed our body to the limit. I have no problem going into the hole, digging deep, finding demon time. You guys know that. But there's also some days where a pace that should be a 6 out of 10 for me feels like a 9 out of 10, and that's my body telling me, all right, buddy, all right, pal, you've gone a little bit too hard, or just appropriately as hard enough. And that's what happened Sunday. Man, we pushed it all the way. So that 14 miles at marathon pace felt exactly how it should, which is it felt like miles 13 to 26 of the marathon versus mile 1 to 14. That's the goal of doing a workout like that. We want it to be a race simulation. So that was a tough one. My workout before that was the one in the rain in the Deviate Nitro Elite 3. So I had 2 back-to-back toughies. And now today, we are going into the gym with perfect conditions here. Shout out to Snap Fitness putting in work. And the camera fell. Oh man, that's an LX. That's pretty sick.
I got nervous for a second because it looked closed. It really does look closed from the outside, but it's not. Alright, let's do this thing. I don't know how much I'm gonna film in there, just because I don't like being that guy. Maybe I'll probably just leave the camera going. Maybe I'll try something different. We should try something different, get a little bit better today, but let's do this thing. Gotta get the card ready. We gotta get the card ready so that I'm not fumbling around with my bag at the door. You see what I mean about it looks closed? There's this gray glossy glaze. It just looks closed. Oh no. Thank you. Alright, so my card was beeping weirdly at the door, but some very nice man let me in. So I'm guessing something weird happened with my membership. Maybe I didn't renew it. I don't know. I'll get that taken care of after this, because going into these months I do need my membership. But I haven't even been here for I don't know how long. But we got in. Good thing I wasn't here at 4:30 a.m. by myself. Alright, lacing up the Mach X2 here. Now, a lot of people have complained about the upper and the heel rubbing, and because I don't read, I try to avoid anything, even on the Supwell forum, just hearing or reading anything about the shoes before I personally run in them, just so I don't have anything in my brain that could influence what I'm thinking. But a lot of people have had issues with the heel counter and rubbing in the back here. I did not have that on the first run, and then I went on to Running Warehouse after I recorded the first run review to pull some of the specs so I could flash them up on the screen, and they had in these giant bright red letters something. I'll see if I can pull a screenshot and throw it up here if it's still there. Something to the effect of warning, the lots of testers have encountered heel rubbing on the shoe, which I had never seen before. So apparently that's a big issue. I didn't have it. I also always wear socks like this. Today I'm actually wearing the OS First. I usually wear the Features. These are the Active Comfort, I think. They're really comfy, but regardless, getting a pair of running socks with this tab in the back, that prevents a lot of those rubbing and heel lock issues, because not only is it going to protect your Achilles, it also provides a better lockdown just because there's more material over here to hold the upper in place. So I would try that. If you have tried the Mach X2, like Rohan and Rai, let me know in the comments what you've done to fix that upper issue, if you have done anything. Other than that, though, I really like the fit of this. It reminds me of a race fit upper, and this just feels like a race shoe, and that's one of the questions I had with the $190 price point in the first run review. It's just so close to a race shoe price point, but I'm not going to worry too much about that today. I just want to enjoy the performance of it, see if we can have some fun miles in it, and evaluate it for what it is, which is a speed training shoe. So with that, we have 4 miles warm up into our threshold miles. Let's do it.
Man, the only thing that separates me now from 4 years ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, before I started this channel, before I started my health journey to improve myself, before I started putting in the work every day, the only thing that separates me then from me now is now I'm not afraid to fail. I'm not afraid to put myself out there and look like a complete buffoon. I'm not afraid to go all out and have it blow up in my face. I'm not afraid to look like a clown. I'm not afraid to be uncool. I'm not afraid to have my 5-year-old think I'm a complete joke. And that's the thing that separates the real sickos from the keyboard warriors sitting there trying to tear other people down. Man, the keyboard warriors are insecure and afraid to fail. Heck yeah, we got to recalibrate. We did 14. And shout out to all the real sickos putting in work today through the hurricane, on the treadmill, off the treadmill, whatever, man. That's what separates the sickos and the slugs from everybody else. We're not afraid to fail. All right, 14 miles, 6:13 pace. I don't know if we can see these splits here, but I was moving and grooving. And this is a workout where I do wish I had some heart rate data, because the treadmill is a little bit, I don't run on the treadmill often, and it's completely flat, so I have no idea how that translates to, let's look at laps here. Look at this. This is a huge design flaw. Delete and laps are right next to each other. But laps here, yeah, and it recorded my, because of this thing, the calibration is so off, it recorded my 2-mile reps as 1.5 mile reps. And it recorded, so I did a 4-mile warm-up, it only recorded that as 3.5 miles. And yes, you can get the Coros pods for the shoes, but this is the thing. This is supposed to be the most affordable piece of running technology out there. And then you have to buy another piece to go on your shoe. No, that doesn't make sense. I'll just manually click it. I don't care that much about having the accurate tracking. But because of that, I did click off laps. Every time the treadmill had me at 2 miles, I clicked it off. So the first one, we went 11:14, 11:07, 10:35. I think that one was a little fast. Maybe I clicked it late or something, but I was definitely faster on the last rep than the third one. So something weird happened there. 10:53. I'm guessing this third one was closer to 10:53. Maybe I just clicked it after. I don't know. Or maybe I was faster. But those are 2-mile reps at a pretty good clip. A 10:53 is a 5:20, roughly a 5:26 average for 2 miles. And then 11:14 is 5:37. So 5:37, 5:33, and then 5:20s at the end. So that's 8 miles at around a 5:30 or faster on the treadmill, about 8 miles at about a 5:30 pace. That's a gosh dang good workout right there, man. And this is what I'm saying. I've had a string of these kind of bad workouts recently, but we just got to keep pushing it. Don't be afraid to fail. Make the conditions a little bit easier. And I know if I were out there on the roads, even if I were in the Alpha Fly or whatever, in the hurricane, no, we just did not need to be a hero. Oh my gosh, I think I have a bloody toenail. I've never had a bloody toenail from a shoe. Did the Mach X give me a bloody toenail? Dude, look at this. This is, oh my gosh. You want to see? All right, viewer discretion advised. Yeah, that's definitely blood. I don't really know. All right, it's safe to look now. The thing is, I almost always wear black socks, so maybe I have bloody toenails every day, but I just don't notice, and then I get in the shower and shower it off and rinse, repeat. And today, because I'm wearing the white socks, it's exposed. So maybe maybe my toes have been bleeding this entire block, and I just didn't know. But this is what I'm going to say, man. You just can't be afraid to fail. It's the same thing with the workouts, man. Putting ourselves out there in general. That's the only thing that separates the people who go out there and do it from the people who have the ideas, the brilliant ideas, but don't follow through. If you have an idea or a goal or something you want to do, just go out there and do it. And the reason that this is on the top of my mind right now, it really stinks coming out here and turning on the camera after I have a string of bad workouts and I try to contextualize it and I'm feeling miserable, but I try to find something positive to say, like on Sunday. But that's the reality of training and life. And that's one of the things I like about being every day on this channel. I can show you all of that. And I hope it helps some people to see that this is the reality of marathon training. This is the reality of going after our goals. We're going to have successes. We're going to have failures. And some of the failures and successes will be more public. Some will be more private. But man, it is tough sometimes when I have a bad workout and then every dude, I'm not even going to say it, but every dude thinks he's now Tony Robbins, talk about mindset this, mindset that. Some days it's not about no gosh dang mindset. Some days we're just completely beaten into the ground like Sunday. So today was a good workout. Mach X2 was solid here. And for this run, it was basically everything I needed, nothing I didn't. Again, I didn't have any issues with the upper around the back. I know there was that little bloody toe thing. I really don't know what that was from. And it's funny because I guess my toe is bleeding, but I don't have any pain or discomfort at all. And you can't see any blood here, so I don't know. I'm not really going to blame the shoe on that one. Maybe I just need to cut my toenail or something. But yeah, no pain or issues around the back. So check out the Features padded socks or these OS First padded socks. On the slower miles, one weird thing was that the stability felt a little bit off. It didn't feel that stable when I was going slower. But then as I started picking up the pace, getting down into that 540, 530, 520 range, it was just perfect. I felt locked in, dialed in. I wasn't thinking about the shoe much at all. The rocker is nice. It's a smooth, controlled ride. And I felt strong running in it. I didn't feel like I was fighting against the foam. And I haven't done a workout like this in the Super Blast, either the 1 or the 2. But the difference with this shoe is it just feels a little bit more cohesive. Even though, so the thing with the Super Blast is that's basically 100% of one foam. Yes, it has the training foam, just a tiny little strip of it on the bottom, but it's all one foam. With this, you have 3 different elements that work together to all provide something a little bit different. So in the bottom, you get the structure and the support. The top, you get the bounce. And then the plate, this plastic plate, reinforces the rocker. So this was a really nice ride. This is the first training shoe I've used for a workout in a long time. I think the last time I did a serious workout like this in a training shoe, actually I used the Topo Spectre to do a workout like this on the roads, and I could only get down to 610s or 620s that day. That was at the beginning of this block. And again, you can't be afraid to fail. I just jumped into a 14-mile threshold workout in the Spectres, and I completely failed. But you have to fail a bunch of times before you can have a success. That's not true. But you have to do something multiple times. Let's talk about the long runs. If you want to run a 20-mile long run hard, you have to run 20 miles easy before you can run it hard. You have to run 20 miles at an 8 flat pace before you can do it at a 7 flat pace and just keep chipping away. So yeah, I haven't done a run like this since the Cloud Monster Hyper, and I did almost this identical workout almost at this identical point in the block in the Cloud Monster Hyper. I think maybe it was 2 weeks before the race or a week and a day before the race in the Cloud Monster Hyper. Right now we're about 2.5 weeks before the race, and this is a similar structure to the Cloud Monster Hyper with the firmer foam in the back and then the polyether block amide, and it's actually the same foam compound, standard EVA in here, standard EVA in the Cloud Monster Hyper, and then the race foam up top. I think you get a little bit more of the race foam in the Hoka Mach X too, but this shoe feels more cohesive, a little bit faster. Yes, it has the plastic plate. This is like everything I liked about the Hyper, but it seems like it's coming together just a little bit better. It also fits my foot a little bit better. Yes, I know my toe is bleeding. Also, now look at this. The camera died, so I'll see you guys at home. All right, we were back in action at the crib. I don't even remember what I was saying at the gym, but fully deblooded the toenail. Time for some food. Look at this. Charles did a Trader Joe's haul. Came through with the Gentle Autumn tortilla chips. I think we might have some nachos for football Thursday tonight. And look at this, a little pineapple salsa. Bang. I've got to get a quick refuel. I don't even know what she got. Let me check the freezer. Check the fridge. All right, we're just going simple and classic. Finish a little tofu scramble. I'll do one of these little chicken patties, throw it in the oven. All right, 5, 3, 4, 2. Awesome. Thank you so much for the help with this.
You're welcome. You have a good one.
You too. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
And shout out to Mary from Snap Fitness putting in work so I can have a membership. All right, I was trying to eat my lunch in there, but I just have so many calls today. So we have the little bagel, everything bagel, some tofu scramble with peppers and kale, and then I'm gonna make another sandwich here real quick. So another bagel. Little protein vegan chicken patty. Might have to pull up with a little avocado here. Yeah, I'm just gonna add a little bit of this for some good fats. Also, just mixing it up on the sandwich. You know, you can't just go straight dry sandwich with none of that. You need something moist, something wet on the sandwich. But I'm just going for calories right now. So this is probably what I'll eat for lunch. Do a little noon. Get some coffee going. And man, these double days force me to be on top of my nutrition way more. And that's what I was realizing this week, because I'm not doing as many double days now that I'm pulling back and cutting down mileage. I haven't been as on top of my nutrition, because if I know I have to run again, I'm saying, okay, let me eat as quickly as I can after this run. And it's already noon right now. I did not eat quickly after this run, but I know I have to eat before the second run, whereas if I don't have a second run, the morning can drag on into the afternoon, and then it's 2 p.m. and I haven't had lunch. So that is not what we want to see. Man, I feel like I need to make this disclaimer anytime I show my food, but being vegan is just what works for me. I am not advocating that everyone else should switch to this diet if that's not what you want to do. It's just the diet that works for me. All right, a little noon here. And I'm also going to get some coffee going. This is what we have today for coffee from our friends at Black and White Roasters. I really think these are the GOAT roasters right now. Definitely GOAT in North Carolina.
They might be the best in the game in the US. They're really good, and I've tried a lot of roasters. So this is the honey processed from Colombia, Aponte Village. They give the tasting notes of marmalade, honey, and black plum. So not too funky. This is the issue. They provide the funk meter here. Whenever I go more than 50% on the funk meter, Charlie is not happy. So we kept it on the lighter side. It's actually more of a medium roast, but this is more of a compromise. This is more of a compromise coffee. This is kind of what Charlie likes, but this is the one she opened. So I'm going to try it, give it a shot. These types of coffees, they're just straight down the middle of the plate. It's not too crazy. You taste a little bit more of that roast and that char than in the light roast, which gives you more of the floral notes and the berry notes. Sometimes it's nice to mix it up, especially for gentle autumn transitioning into hard fall. I like a good sturdy sipper. This is a sturdy cup of coffee. None of that floral lavender essence that I might be drinking on an 85-degree July morning. Also, man, it is brutal out there. This is the worst I've seen it all day. Can you see that? The rain is just pelting the roof of the carport there. And yeah, our gutter is just putting in the work right now. Look at that gutter going ham. So yeah, I am happy I made the decision to do the treadmill this morning, and I'm probably going to do the treadmill for the second run. I was debating going out there and being a hero, doing grip tests in the rain. This does not look like something that I want to run in, given that I have the choice. And this is the thing. If I didn't have the choice, I would run in this. But I do have the choice. And I've gotten... Let me talk to you real quick. To me, being a hobby jogger is about maximizing our enjoyment in performance based on the resources and constraints that we have. We all have different things available to us. Different money, different time, different terrain. And we should all, if our goal is to improve ourselves and up our best, we should all work within those constraints to enjoy our running and to get the most out of it. So if you can afford a $300 race shoe and that's what you want to race in, go ahead and buy it and don't feel any guilt. And then on the other side, if you could only afford a $150 shoe and one shoe to do everything, there's some great shoes out there to use and do that. So I got a few comments recently saying I'm not a hobby jogger because I used Morton's to fuel on my long runs, or I picked the most expensive shoes for the Chicago Marathon Race Shoe Challenge, where I'm having people vote. It's not about you. We don't have to use cheap products to represent what being a hobby jogger is. Now, I don't think you need the expensive shoe. I don't think you need the Morton. But if you're going to prepare to race a hard PR, then maybe you want to fuel with that Morton during training. And if you can afford the race shoes and that's exciting to you, go ahead and buy them. So that's my 2 cents on it. We're all out here to have fun and maximize what we can do based on our own resources. I'll make some coffee. Wow, it is really coming down. Alright, it's still raining. Time for run number 2. I'm going to go to the gym again, just bang out some miles on the treadmill, and then we can call it a day. So I think I'm going to do 6 to 8 miles. Nice, not relaxed pace, but nice moderate pace, and see how the Mach X2 do for that. I also switched into some different socks so we can see how these guys do. For the rubbing, these don't have the padding on the back, so we'll see if that makes a difference. Let's hit it. So run number 2, this is all about getting some time on feet, keeping that aerobic mileage up, and building that raw endurance. So we'll go 45 minutes to an hour here and see how the Mach X2 does for comfort. This is a run where I'm looking for comfort, I'm looking for something that's reliable, and I just want something that feels good for time on feet. That's why I do these double run day tests in these shoes, and it's usually indicative of how they'll perform over a longer run. So in lieu of a long run in the Mach X2, we're doing this second run here today, which will take us up to 22 miles or 20 miles on the shoot. And I actually have not been doing any long runs in these plated training shoes because all my long runs I've been doing Carbon County. We've been doing the real race shoes because I just want all that pop, that pep, that speed assistance, and that's what the Mach X2 is going to lack. Theoretically, it should make up for it a little bit in comfort. Now, when I was running fast in it earlier today, it felt comfortable, but ironically, at those slower paces, it didn't feel the most comfortable and the most stable. And it's not ironic if you think about it as the speed training shoe, but if you think about the Mach X2 versus the Rocket X2 or versus the Cielo X1, I actually think the Cielo X1 might have a little bit more underfoot comfort. So we'll do another run, more relaxed pace right now to see if that's true. I'm gonna play some V's. Bro, V's has a great line that's been stuck in my head. He's a sneak dissing fan. What a weirdo. A lot of sneak dissing fans out there. Right. Enough talking. I'm gonna play some V's and we can cruise to the gym. See you guys in a bit. Just to finish what I was saying earlier, my whole mentality is that we should go as hard as we can to reach our goals. So if you have a treadmill and you don't want to run a workout in the rain, go ahead and use that treadmill. If you can afford the expensive Max Stack shoes that are gonna get you excited to run, go ahead and buy those expensive Max Stack shoes. These are all little luxuries or little things we can do to enjoy our running more that we don't need, but if we can do them, why not? Why not? There's no point of forcing ourselves to be in discomfort or to do something the hard way or to make something harder than it needs to be just to prove a point. Dude, I cannot see how close I am to this little thing. Alright, I think that's good. Alright. Alright, I'll see you guys when I'm done. Bada bang. Alright, man, 22 miles. 22-mile day. That's a taper. 22-mile month. You a hater. But I'm not a rapper. And that's the thing. A lot of boys want to talk about you can't do this, you can't do that. Running 5-mile weeks trying to tell me how to review shoes. And I had someone tell me you can't review shoes on the treadmill. How many miles you run today? Honestly, some weeks the comments and the negativity get to me more. This week is definitely one of them, so we just gotta spit some bars and laugh. In the murdered out Jeep doing numbers. Haters typing comments till their thumbs hurt. Hit them with the Detroit flow. Alright, so we got 22 miles on the treadmill. Not in the rain, because we were inside, but 22 miles in the Mach X2. And man, this thing is bouncy, it's smooth, it's decently comfortable, and I feel like I'm in control
of the run in the shoe when I run in this thing, which is what I want in a training shoe. And I think that's one of the differences when we think about the training shoes and the racing shoes. Also, when we think about faster shoes versus more relaxed shoes, the faster a shoe is, typically the more control we will feel over that platform. So something like the Adidas Takumi Sen, probably the fastest shoe I've ever run in. Or what was the other one I was going to say? Oh, Nike Vaporfly 2. You tend to be narrower, a little bit lower stack. Your foot is closer to the ground, so you have more control over those platforms. And think about, conversely, the more comfortable cushion shoes, the New Balance 1080, Asics Gel Nimbus 25, New Balance More V5. You have a little bit less control, but more cushion, more padding, more comfort. And this does a nice job blending those two because you get the higher stack. There's no ground feel in this thing whatsoever. And I do think it's softened up a little bit through, we're at 32 miles now. But the top layer of this race foam is amazing. And it's tuned so well. If you take a look, it's not too soft where I'm sinking into it a ton. But it's not firm at all, at least for my stride and especially on the treadmill. And that is the one downside about running on the treadmill or trying to get a feel for these shoes on the treadmill. The treadmill gives you an inherently softer experience because of the belt and also because you're running on a softer surface. It's plastic versus gravel. I do think it's easier on the joints though, and it's not as much pounding, which is why I don't typically love a super soft shoe on the treadmill. I tried to run I think one time in the New Balance 1080 on the treadmill. It was horrible. One of the worst experiences. If you want to feel like you're fighting against the foam, go take a max stack shoe on the treadmill. The best shoes for treadmill are something like this Mach X2 here, New Balance Rebel V3, that was another great treadmill shoe, Nike Vomero 17, and this is a great treadmill shoe because you get more of that controlled feeling from the firmer bottom layer of foam here, and also that plastic plate. So we talk a lot about the technology and where it matters and where it doesn't. I don't really care what kind of a plate is in the shoe. I care what ride experience it delivers. So the plate in here stiffens up the forefoot and provides that stable, rigid feel that you want when you're running fast without being too harsh. Now, I actually think a lot of the race shoes have done a good job this year evolving so that they're not super harsh. For example, Saucony Endorphin Elite, that is on the harsher side. That was released in 2022 or 2023. A lot of the shoes that have released this year, even the fastest ones like the Cloud Boom Strike and the Alpha Fly, they don't feel as harsh. These brands are doing a nice job baking in more comfort into the shoes. And so that's where a shoe like the Mach X2, when it landed for me, raised those questions of, with the race shoes getting so comfortable, where does this fit into the market? And now that I've run in it for 32 miles, done a 22-mile day, and now that I reached for it for today, I'm realizing that there is a place for these shoes if you want a little bit of a more controlled, less harsh feeling, and also at a lower price point than the race shoes. It's just, for me, the question still is, how much of a difference is there in the ride experience of this versus something like the Rocket X2? Now, there is another mental, psychological aspect to it where we want to feel like maybe we're saving our special shoes for race day, or even for me, like today, when I pulled for this shoe, I said, I don't like running in race shoes on the treadmill. And for some people, it might be you don't like running your workouts in race shoes. So that's understandable. I have my quirks too. I don't like wearing race shoes on the treadmill. I'd rather go with a non-plated shoe or a standard daily trainer on the treadmill. So we all have our quirks, and if you are going to have a shoe rotation, again, you don't need to have more than one shoe. If you're not running a ton, you can get away with one shoe, you can get away with having two shoes. But if you're gonna maintain a bigger shoe rotation, this could come into play for days like today, higher mileage days where you do want a little bit more comfort. This is a very comfortable shoe. I think the heel landing experience is a touch better than in the Cielo X1. It just feels like there's a little bit more of a substantial platform at the back here than the Cielo X1. Overall, more comfortable in this than the Rocket X2. You're not gonna get as much snap and bounce as those race shoes, but
this is a great shoe. This goes up near some of the race shoes in terms of the ride experience that I got from it today. And I'll definitely have to take some more or do some more road miles on this, take it out on the road a few more times, and we'll be able to do that before we get into the 50-mile review. But for a high mileage day like today, where I'm blending speed, blending comfort, going to take one shoe for an entire day, or going to take one shoe on a trip, this would be a great shoe. And for a runner like me, or if you're in a phase of training where you are going to be doing some faster miles and you want versatility, this would be awesome. If you're going for, maybe you're in a base building period of fitness, or base building period of training where you're doing a lot more relaxed miles, you could go with something like the Nova Blast 4 as your one shoe to take on a trip. But for me, if I had to pick one shoe to take on a trip right now, it might be this or the Puma Deviate Nitro 3. And that's a head-to-head I should do soon, because I think these are my two top plated training shoes of the year. Deviate Nitro 3, that's only $160. So that has it for price, but ride experience, they're both pretty similar. I think I like the upper and fit of the Mach X2 a little bit better. Man, I gotta cut those bushes. They are really low. Yeah, I think I don't know. That's gonna be a tough one. I need to hold off any judgment. They're both up there. Mach X, Hyperion Max 2 is also up there. Again, I need to get more miles than that, but just in terms of my memory of it, it had that fast, propulsive, almost race feeling of the Mach X2, but just a little bit less comfortable. So this blends the comfort of the Deviate Nitro 3 with that aggression of the Hyperion Max 2. Bouncy, soft, smooth. I absolutely loved this thing today. So I think if you're looking for an alternative to a race shoe, that's where this is going to come into play. For me personally, I'm still not sure. If I were building a rotation of 3 to 4 shoes, would this make it? Maybe. This, something like New Balance 1084 V14 for relaxed daily miles, this for faster daily miles and some workouts and long runs. Let's say Cloud Boom Strike or Alpha Fly 3. Let's say Alpha Fly 3 for race shoe. Nah, I'm not gonna. Cloud Boom Strike for race shoe. And then one more slot. Maybe that's where we go Brooks Hyperion 2 for that lightweight. So let's do that again. Brooks Hyperion 2 for lightweight, interval training, fast, working on mechanics. That's probably what I would use for most treadmill runs. Cloud Boom Strike for race shoe. 1080 V14 for relaxed daily miles. And this for steady miles and some workouts. I'm not saying those are my 4 favorite shoes, but if I were to structure a 4-shoe rotation to get me through a training block, that would be a great rotation. So I could see where this comes into play. If you are the type of runner who likes having multiple shoes, this would be great. This also would be a great alternative to those race shoes. Now, in terms of that little upper issue, I did have more of a feeling of some, I don't even know if I would call it rubbing, but through the first 2 miles, so first roughly 15 minutes on the treadmill, I could feel a little bit more going on in the back here because I didn't go for the padded socks. So that is something to keep in mind. Definitely go for the padded socks in the back. I wouldn't go for those crew style socks that I have on right now. All right, 22 miles in the books. Haters down bad, giving dirty looks. Oh, this is the other thing I was gonna say, man. Sometimes I struggle to find the right things to say, but this channel is for people who want to put in the work and who find value in the process and doing things the long way. And I can get down on the message isn't landing. People are just obsessed with short TikTok culture, but I think it's even more important that we double down and stick to the vision, because man, we've touched a lot of people. We even got other YouTubers getting on the wave now, trying to steal the swag. These other, man, can't tell you something, these little boys trying to do numbers with my old style. Remember when I used to go in the room, have the black background, and do market analysis and shoe previews? Little boy's been stealing my swag since 2023. The thing is, if you don't have swag, it's not going to work. And that's why we doubled up on them. I used to get so frustrated when people would copy me and not credit me last year, and Charlie said, just wait. Just wait. You're going to pass them. And now we doubled up on them.
All right, shout out to everyone putting in work, man. Some days you just have to do whatever it is you got to do what needs to get done. And today we had to just boss up. This is the thing. You could easily, or I could have easily said, I'm not really feeling it. I'm not going to do the workout. It's rainy. I could have also said, I don't know how it's going to work with the gym. My membership is lapsed. I don't know if my key card is going to work. Maybe I'll just do a 30-minute run in the rain and then come back. But you got to have the mentality of why not? Why not? And just figure it out as we go. That's what it's all about, man. Put in the work, figure it out as you go, adjust, find your own lane, and flex on these disrespectful little boys. One more thing before we go inside. I haven't really talked about the design at all today. I actually really like the design of this shoe. Now, there are some elements that are functional, like how they've pushed up this yellow foam, the standard training foam, the ethylene vinyl acetate up the back. But I love the aesthetic of it. I love how this looks. Right up there with the Brooks Hyperion Max 2. But Hoka overall as a brand has a little bit more swag. Hoka and On are probably the swaggiest running brands right now, just in terms of the crossover from casual into running. So shout out to the design of this shoe. It just looks so good, and it's one of those shoes where I lace it up and I want to run fast. It looks good and it makes me want to run fast. So that's another bonus for the Mach X too. All right, I got a shower now.
All we ever did was give them the blueprint to grind. That's all we ever did. Little boys don't even know the meaning of hard work. Never worked a day in their life.
All right, Thursday. Looks like it's corn chowder. Smells like it's corn chowder. Yeah, that's corn chowder for sure. That looks fire. That's gonna be dinner right there. Bada boom, bada bang. Little boys in the comments hating, still eating Campbell's Chunky. Never tasted homemade corn chowder in their life. All right, dinner time. I think I could hear some activity going on in here. Charles looking real healthy. Roni's looking real healthy. Roni's never eaten Campbell Chunky soup in her life. You know Chef Boyardee up in here. Mason doesn't even know what Chef Boyardee is. Oh, is that true? They canceled school? All right. You're watching what? Mary Poppins? Oh, that's fair. Good luck. Yeah. Yeah, 22 all day. I wonder if it's my last before. I'll probably go 20 next week. I mean, I was going 24, 25, and 26, so 22's. I guess that's appropriate because it's supposed to be an 80% cut this week.
Hey, Ira. Guys, please. I'm taking away the weird part. Kind of gross, but. It's yum. Yeah. It's so good. It's yum.
Man, little boy's still drinking Bud Light. We off that. It's the Sierra Nevada Trail Pass non-alcoholic. Get in with me. Cheers, mate.
What is it? Oh, you made a card?
I don't have school tomorrow.
Oh my goodness.
Then sit in your seat, that would be helpful.
Alright, man, this is how we're coming tonight. Look at this. Homemade, beautiful corn chowder mixed with the olive fugazi bread from Trader Joe's, man. If you're still eating Wonder Bread, get off that. If you're still eating Campbell's Chunky, you gotta boss up. You gotta go to your local Aldi or your local Trader Joe's. Get you a bag of potatoes. Get you some carrots. I don't know the whole recipe. Charlie does. But make yourself a nice corn chowder. Pair it with some affordable but hearty bread. That's a good dinner right there, man. Little boy's still eating SpaghettiOs. Eating some Chef Boyardee. Trying to talk about mileage, man. Get your mileage up. And get in some stew. A nice hearty stew. We'll be back tomorrow with another video. Man, little boy's eating Lunchables. Trying to tell me how to review shoes. Gosh dang, man. It's 6:30, still going. This storm started at 7:15 p.m. last night. And it has not let up. So tomorrow is going to be another either rainy run or treadmill run. Ugh. Alright, man. I'll see you then.